Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pits, the players, the hustlers, the people who bust them, but everybody else in between. Level 2 has begun. The first half has literally just come to a close right now with the Crypt in Los Angeles, 77-64 for the Los Angeles Clippers. As we mentioned, the Clippers have been dominant over the Lakers over the past years, 8-2 the last 10. So they're up. High-scoring game so far. Thanks to Andrew McKinnis for joining us. Normally, we bring in a guest at the 11:10 Eastern time segments. But you know what? We always feel rushed with Brady Cannon. There's a lot of stuff to get to. We got the Farmers Insurance. Brady's got a bunch of picks for this tournament. We're down to the Final Four in the National Football League, and there's a lot of golf betting crazy stuff to get to, actually, that we got to talk about before we get to this tournament. So let's bring in one of the best golf cappers in the industry, Las Vegas golfer Brady Cannon in the house. What's up, Brady?
Hey, gentlemen, good to be with you once again. And yeah, we got a Wednesday start this week with the Torrey Pines Farmers Insurance Open, one of my favorite venues. I love getting back to Torrey Pines. Kind of kicks the season off for me in earnest. You know, I use the American Express and the two Hawaii events as a little bit of a preseason. I played this course when I was down in college, and just a beautiful slice of land down there in La Jolla. So I'm fired up about this one.
All right, so before we get to Torrey Pines and the Insurance Open, what a story. What a crazy start to the PGA swing as far as long shots are concerned. Chris Kirk wins at 200-1. Grayson Murray wins in the 400-1 range. And now Nick Dunlop, the amateur, cashes at 500-1. Shout out to everybody joining us on Sirius XM Channel 159. So we've had 3 massive paydays in a row. And, you know, at first there wasn't any residuals from this. Like we saw, like nobody had it, right? And then I saw like Darren Rovell tweeted. Rovell's normally on top of these things. Rovell tweeted out one better bet $10 on him. But today, FanDuel actually released it that one better in Iowa put $500. He put $300 down at 500-1. So he actually cashed $150,000 on a $300 bet, Ken. Wow. Not bad.
That is amazing. That's a great story.
Yeah, 500-1 in Iowa.
Yeah, I know a couple guys, Gabe, that we know with Jeff Feinberg or whatever. A couple guys listening, they put $5 and $10 on it. I saw a couple tickets, but man, $300 at 500-1. What stones? That was crazy too. The ending of that tournament, it was nuts.
That had to be a family member. You know, I mean,
family member, college roommate, or some dude, some psycho, Brady, that just bets the amateur every time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. He's going to hit this one of these times. And, you know, I know this guy from college. Or like,
you know, it's another guy named Nick Dunlap. And he's, oh, look at that. I'm going to bet on him.
Yeah, exactly.
But that really is amazing. Like I said, like I saw a $10 bet, but now I can confirm, better in one customer in Iowa bet $300 on amateur Nick Dunlap to win the American Express and 500-1 to pay. It was $150,000 and $300. $150, $300. But what I find crazy or like fascinating about this is, so he doesn't get the money because he's an amateur. That the runner-up, but Bazoudenhout was the runner-up and he got the money, Brady. That's crazy. You finished in second place, but you got the grand prize.
How's that for a bonus, huh? Hey, listen, you lost, but you really kind of won, Seabez. Not too shabby. My goodness. Yeah, and I guess you got to give the purse out somehow. Shouldn't you just spread it across everybody that made the cut? That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Pretty crazy the way it works out.
Know what it is though, Gabe? The good news is he did get NIL deals though. Like after that tournament, so it's like, man, I got screwed on the purse, but now I'm going to be making some cake in different areas. But yeah, it's a shame. I don't understand why. Like, there's got to be a way that like the guy gets something for this. I don't know. I don't like it, to be honest with you, but that's life. He doesn't pay his PGA Tour dues. You're not going to get paid, but at least he got NIL money.
You could change your mind, though, on the spot, right? And just say, all right, I'm going to renounce my amateur status and take the money. Or is it too late once you enter the tournament?
No, I think I think he would have had the option to do it. That's a good question, actually.
That's a great question. I think you got to do it before the tournament, though.
Yeah,
like you have to say, I'm not an amateur anymore before you tee it up. Kind of like avoid bet if a guy doesn't hit a ball, but if he hits a ball, it's live. Like it's, Gabe. I think you got to do it pre-tournament. Like I remember Ludwig Aberg, now they call him a Bear or whatever, but like he basically played so damn good after he left Texas Tech. He said, "Nah, I'm a pro," and he did it before.
No, we've seen that where guys play well and don't win. Like didn't Zalatoris leave early after playing well? I could be wrong, but.
Right.
Like guys have left, but I was just wondering about this, but I don't know. No one's ever won. I mean, amateurs don't win. The last time it happened was 1991.
Yep.
So I mean, it's not like we know. Like there's a precedent, Brady, right? But going back to Mickelson.
Something happens like this, and usually the guys turn pro immediately after it's done, but not the case for Nick Dunlap. And he had an invitation to play here this week at Torrey Pines, but he turned that down. I think he's just, still coming off of this life-changing event. And, you talk about it being a shame that he wasn't able to collect $1 million+ or whatever it was for the win. He's probably going to have a few millions to his name before it's all said and done. I mean, when you're this 20 years old, you win a tournament, it's probably got a pretty bright future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as Cam mentioned, NIL deals obviously are far from as lucrative in golf as they are in football. But with the golf companies and stuff, let's just be real. He's already going to have some serious sponsorship deals lined up and stuff when he steps onto the tour. So I'm sure he's just lining everything up, and they're being patient. It's a new era we're in right now, though, right? We see it right now in football even, like, a lot. They don't need the money. It's not the same anymore. Like, look at Deion Sanders' son is a good example. I know it's like Deion Sanders' son, but he would have been, like Mel Kiper said, if he was in this year's draft, he'd probably be like the third quarterback taken. Yet he's going to make literally $5 to $7 million playing college football next year. So there's no like, oh, I got to go. I got to get the money. It's like, well, you're already getting money. Like J.J. McCarthy, same thing, Michigan. He decided to go to the NFL, but reports were that he was going to, that the NIL people told him, we'll get you $5 million to come back to Michigan. He decided, no, I've already done what I need to do here, but we're talking about big money, man. Right? I mean, Caitlin Clark makes more money right now at Iowa than she will when she gets into the WNBA. It's sad but true, actually. It's a crazy world that we're in now. And for the record, Caitlin Clark, their ratings for the Ohio State game, I tweeted this out the other day during the game, and I said, I bet you these ratings smash everything else, like every other men's game and stuff. 4 million people watched Ohio State and Iowa's women's game on Sunday. Wow. All right, on a Sunday. And they had like head-to-head with like NBA and stuff. The NFL was coming up. And it wasn't even on a network that had the NFL. It was on NBC.
Gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
best games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night, as the Chiefs are now headed back to a 6th championship game. An extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in the divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon, not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
I have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
in-game live,
Just
prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
That was
late
good
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Did like a 2.5. Jumped on.
There's no taking weeks off.
All right, it's been a crazy day in the sports world today. A lot of stuff we'll get to in level 3 with some random rage we'll come at you with. Adrian Griffin is out in Milwaukee. Doc Rivers is officially in. Harbaugh appears to be close with the Chargers. People in Michigan starting to think that it's actually sort of going to be a done deal. And now the concern is that he's actually going to raid the Michigan coaching staff on the way out, which will actually change the narrative a lot if that's what happens. All kinds of crazy stuff. The WWE shocked everybody today. Monday Night Raw is moving to Netflix, exclusively on Netflix moving forward in a $5 billion deal. The UFC and WWE stock was up 21% today. Like I said, a lot of crazy stuff going on off the field and courts, but let's hit the links right now. We're going to Torrey Pines. Brady Cannon, Cam Stewart will get Cam's picks a little bit later on. We'll get Brady because Brady's got a ton of picks and a bunch of guys that he likes. And Brady, I know some of the traits that you're looking for here in players, good drivers, good scramblers, and good players from 200 feet out as well, as I read your preview for this tournament. So I saw, though, you got a couple of guys that you're looking at here, and you're taking a swing with some longer shots this week.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the trend on the PGA Tour, right? We were just talking about old Nicky Dunlap and Grayson Murray and Chris Kirk. So why not another shot at a triple-digit winner here? But you're exactly right, Gabe. Torrey Pines is a monster of a golf course, nearly 7,800 yards. I like to look at total driving, the combination of accuracy and length. And then, like you say, shots from 200 yards or better. You're going to have a lot of those approach shots. And then scrambling. These are smaller than standard size greens. You're not going to hit them all in regulation from shooting from that far away. So you've got to be able to get up and down, left and right throughout this entire golf course. And probably not a better guy with course history than anybody else in the field than Tony Finau. Big hitter. Has a top 15, a top 20, 5 top 10s, including a runner-up here. 8 rounds so far in 2024, and he shot 7 of them in the 60s. Also has done really well at the correlated courses. 8th at the U.S. Open at Winged Foot, 4th at the PGA Championship in 2020 at Harding Park. He's won and finished 2nd at Vedanta Vallarta, all big, long, big boy golf courses. Went with another guy at 50-1, Harris English, who also has great track history at this track. has an 8th, a 14th, and a runner-up here in 2015, and then also finished 3rd in the U.S. Open the year John Rahm won it in 2021. And, oh, by the way, at Corrales Punta Cana and the Wells Fargo at Quail Hollow, a couple of other big, long golf courses. He's finished top 5 at both of those and was 3rd at Winged Foot in 2020 when Bryson DeChambeau won the U.S. Open. So Finau and English really have a lot of boxes checked as far as being a good fit for this golf course. And then I went a little bit deeper, 50-1 also on Nicolai Højgaard. And Cam, I know our European Tour expert here, Højgaard has been on absolute fire. His last 4 starts have all been on European soil. He's finished 7th, 25th, 1st, and 2nd. It's his first time playing Torrey Pines, so a little bit risky here taking a debutant, but I can't ignore how well he's been playing, and he's a huge driver of the golf ball. He's got the tools to win at this course. And then 70-1. This guy really hasn't been on the radar for a couple of seasons, and that's Shane Lowry, the Irishman. But we know how good this guy is, and he always seems to play difficult golf courses well. Last year, in a relatively down season for him, he was top 20 at Riviera for the Genesis, at the Honda Classic, at the Masters, at the PGA Championship, at the Memorial, at the U.S. Open, and the Genesis Scottish Open. So not a bad resume there on what was otherwise a down year for Shane Lowry. I have a feeling, I mean, this guy's 14th on tour last year in total driving. The short game has been really what's hindered him the last couple of years, but we know over the time, this guy has had one of the best short games in the world. So if he can find that this week, he might shock everybody and win this one. Then I went to Adam Svensson at 90-1, got his first win on tour a couple years ago. He's just been getting better and better, been playing well this year. He is number 1 in this field over the last 24 rounds about those approach shots we talked about from 200 yards or better. And then I went into the triple digits with Ben Griffin. And Cam and I were talking off air. I think Cam likes Ben as well. He's not your prototypical Torrey Pines guy, but in his first attempt, he did finish 31st here last year, and he's been on a roll this season, 30th at the Sony and 9th last week in La Quinta at the Amex. And then finally, you guys, I went with Svensson, a Canadian, another Canadian in Taylor Pendrith, a big hitter who has finished 16th here at Torrey Pines and tends to do really well at especially long golf courses. Did well at Winged Foot in that 2020 U.S. Open, finished 23rd, Corrales Punta Cana, you name it. This guy seems to do his best when he's on big boy golf courses, so I'll take a chance with him here as well.
2 Canucks.
Interesting. I like where you're going with that, actually. Pendrith was catching my eye as far as the long shot. We'll get Cam's thoughts on Brady's picks, but let me ask you, Brady, so you bypass some of the big names and the cheaper favorites this week. I got burnt betting on Xander on a weekly basis and every major for basically like years and years. I'm finally tapping out and watch him come out and win now. But
he's playing great this year.
He doesn't play well.
Third last week.
He's always played well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He doesn't win.
Yeah.
And another thing is he doesn't play well here, right? And he's even admitted, my friends and family are here, and it just never really works out. It's like, I mean, he's missed the cut a bunch of times. I know he's gotten better, and I know he's had a couple of decent runs here before, but it's not like this sort of, he's dominant on this home track or something like that. I know Morikawa is super trendy this week as well. Yeah. Patrick Cantlay. But I don't like any of those 3 guys, but let me throw a guy to you, Brady, and we'll get Cam's thoughts on this. But Max Homa, for a guy that's Captain California, no love for Max Homa here?
Well, I think the first thing that I can react to on that is I don't typically like to back the defending champion. I mean, it's not that often that a guy wins in back-to-back years. And so I wanted to find, and I kind of felt like my selections are a little bit all over the map. I mean, I don't know anybody that's on Shane Lowry. It just kind of stuck out to me. And it can constantly envision Shane Lowry playing really well on difficult golf courses. Now, he might miss the cut. He might flat crash and burn, but he also has the potential to lap the field here. Homa, obviously he's the California kid, but I stayed away from the shorter guys, Gabe. You talked about it with Xander Schauffele. First half of his career here, I mean, he missed like 5 or 6 cuts in a row. I believe he has a runner-up a couple of years ago, but it started out really poorly for him, a San Diego native, San Diego State Aztec. Morikawa's got a couple of top 10 finishes here in his career, I believe. But, 9, 10, 11 to 1. I wanted to find – I don't think any of them is a sure thing. So I certainly wasn't going to bank on them at basically single-digit prices. So I had to go deeper with some guys that I think have an equally as good a shot.
You know what, guys?
I totally get that too. With Homa winning last year, Cam, I don't like taking guys that won last year and/or that won the week before. I mean, who the hell wins 2 weeks in a row ever? Right? You don't
really
say to be obvious, Cam, but it's kind of true.
Like Brendan Todd got a heater when he won like 3 times or whatever. It was very weird. And then after that, he hasn't done much since. But I will say this, Gabe, Homa for a top 10 is plus 175, and that's the way I would attack it. Only one guy's going to win the tournament. That's a really nice price. Or if you want to lay just a tad of juice for a top 20, he'll be there. But yeah, it's just, that's the way. One guy's going to win, and I'd rather have him in the top 10 and 20 markets.
I like Aberg, but one gut feel, sort of like you said about Lowry, it's not as profitable. But I'm looking at Jason Day. He's just sort of calling my name off the screen here.
Two-time winner.
Yeah. Jason Day. He's due.
Well here.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night as the Chiefs are now headed back to a 6th championship game, an extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy,
the early line,
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
I have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
in-game live,
just
prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage late night.
We waited for a 1.5. We got paid
We
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on.
There's no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
83-73 for the Clippers right now. 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter of play. Second half has just started. No LeBron James. Tonight we jumped in on the over of this game. We told you we thought it'd be a track meet without LeBron slowing things down. And, man, it really is. In-game total right now, 261.5. 261.5. AD's already got 20 points right now. There's 8:50 left, and we're at 158 points scored right now in this game. So you had a new in-game total. UNLV alert right now. 22-8 Air Force. UNLV are like 11-point favorites, 11.5-point favorites. They're losing 22-8 in this game. I only bet the over 130. Total right now is 134.5. So we'll keep our eye on that for everybody. So as far as the golf is concerned, any top 10s, top 20s, any other loose ends you want to get to, we'll get Cam's golf picks in about 20 minutes time. Brady, any other loose ends as far as this golf tournament that you have for us?
Yeah, just a couple things, Gabe. All the guys that I rattled off there that I played for an outright win, that's my smallest amount of risk. I more than doubled the amount wagered on them, each and every one of them, for top 20 finishes. So I've got a small amount on an outright, a bigger bet on each of them for a top 20 finish. And then I did play one head-to-head matchup, a full tournament head-to-head matchup, and that was Adam Svensson at plus 120 over Keith Mitchell.
Adam Svensson over Keith Mitchell. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cam, are you playing a bunch of matchups this week?
It's actually funny. I have Keith Mitchell in my six-pack. I like Keith Mitchell this week, but he actually, Gabe, he finished really strong last week. He was like 9 under through 12 holes, and he ran out of holes. But, yeah, no, I can understand. Svensson's a little more consistent. Keith's one of those guys. He can go lower. He can really break your heart, too, with like a nice smooth 76. But, yeah, I like
He's
Mitchell.
A great driver of the golf ball.
Yes, he is.
So we've got some golf starting tomorrow. We'll have more golf picks coming up with the Rage Red Cam Stewart. And, of course, the NFL, we're down to the Final Four right now. And, Brady, you look at these football games, and I do think it's going to be San Francisco and Baltimore that end up playing each other in the Super Bowl. I saw it at plus 110, so, the exact Super Bowl matchup. But I was sort of thinking ahead here, and from a betting perspective, I can get Baltimore to beat San Francisco in the Super Bowl at plus 350. And that's sort of the way that I'm looking to pulling the trigger right now. And I'm not a big hedger. I'm really not. I've always kidded that, hedging is for gardeners and, and I haven't hedged in big spots before because I'm like, if I like the bet, I like the bet and I'll live with losing it. But at the same point in time, for a Super Bowl that could be as competitive as a potential Baltimore-San Francisco, I wouldn't mind having a plus 350 in my back pocket with Baltimore going into the game and give myself some wiggle room to take San Francisco, bet some props, and attack the game in other ways. What do you think about my strategy?
I think it's great, Gabe. And I actually, have, a plan came together to me similarly. I had the Detroit Lions to win the NFC preseason at 12-1. So I took the Niners on the money line this week. I did hedge it because, that was my whole intention at the beginning of the year, is to turn a profit with this ticket. And I think you make a great point there. The odds makers have already come out showing fictional possible matchups, and Baltimore would be they're showing 1.5 point underdog right now to San Francisco. So you're not going to have a very big money line if you need to hedge with the Niners in an outright win. And on the other side, you've got plus 350 on a Baltimore win. The money line's not going to be that big either. So, no, I think that's a pretty good position. And I do completely agree with you. We'll get into the games a little bit further for Sunday, but I do believe it's awful chalky, but I think it's really hard to argue that San Francisco and Baltimore aren't the two best teams in the NFL, and they aren't going to be the Super Bowl representatives. I believe they will be.
A lot of people are talking about, wow, they didn't look great against Green Bay, which I always think is the weakest and dumbest argument ever. Like really people, it's almost like when you hear someone say, like in a regular season, well, last week they did this, and last week I saw them play against the Eagles, and they didn't like. It's like, he who bets last week won't be around next week. That's my saying.
Yeah, there
okay?
you go. I like
I don't care. Like last week against And my belief is now they've shook the rust off a little bit, the Niners. They hadn't played a real game in 3 weeks, right? Now I expect them to dial it up a little bit. And I brought it up. Detroit, they played every game indoors. 11 of their last 12 games have been indoors. They've been at home for the last couple of weeks in this little magical bubble thing that they've got going on here. Now you're going into the Bay Area, a place that they have not won in since 1975. Tough task for the Lions.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with you. And I'm kind of torn here because I grew up a 49er fan. So I want them to win. I want them to win it all. But I love the Detroit story. I've fallen in love with Dan Campbell and the way he handles his team and the enthusiasm and, the attitude and the aggressive nature. I mean, he makes some decisions that aren't perfect, but you got to love him. He just goes for it. And, it's kind of been the storyline all season long. The liability here is the Detroit defense. San Francisco has so many weapons. If Deebo Samuel is in there, even if he's not 100%, it causes problems in coverage because he's another guy that you at least have to pay attention to, and the Niners can carve you up with everybody else. I do think the Detroit offense will be okay. I think they'll be able to run the ball, but one of their primary areas of attack is down the middle between the hash marks, and that's tough territory going against the Niners because you run in right into Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner. So I think Ben Johnson will have to call a really good game on being creative with the passing game. I think they'll be okay in the running game, but I think he's going to have to mix it up through the air. And to your point, just looking at last week, you could look at both of these teams. Detroit looked really good. I think Tampa Bay, I thought it was Green Bay, but I now, after seeing a couple games, I think it's Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, well, maybe Philadelphia. Tampa Bay is an average football team, and they're one of, if not the worst teams in this postseason tournament. And that made Detroit look awful good. Plus, they had an injured defensive back that Detroit just torched in the second half. They're not great. And so Detroit was really propped up, in the eyes of the casual fan in that performance. Meanwhile, San Francisco looked pretty darn ugly. But as you guys know, it's a sign of a good team when you can play poorly and win. And I'm telling you, that drive by Brock Purdy at the end, that was massive. Massive for his confidence, massive for the team. And a lot of people don't know this, but in the famous game when Joe Montana hit Dwight Clark for the catch, Montana had thrown 3 interceptions in that game previously. And that was the very beginning of his career. And not that Purdy's going to eventually be Joe Montana, but it takes moments like that to ascend to higher ground. And I think they do it this week. I wouldn't be surprised by a double-digit win by either teams here. I also at the same time could understand a Lions cover. My power rating comes to 5. When I run the stats, it comes to 4. I played it safe, guys. And like I said earlier, I played the Ravens and the 49ers in a money line parlay.
One, Brady Cannon, kick it with us. I'm Gabriel Morency, Cam Stewart in the house. Baltimore seemed like the logical play here, and not to take anything away from the Chiefs, and I'm a Bills fan, so this isn't an excuse. This isn't any sort of, shoulda, coulda, woulda, if ends and buts were candies and nuts. But the Buffalo Bill defense wasn't their real defense that the Chiefs just played. Right? It just wasn't. And it's not an excuse, but it's just, it's a great point. I mean, you've played 2 depleted defenses. The Bills literally had 7 starters out at one point the other night. It was backups in for backups in for backups, and they paid the price on defense for it. The Bills are better on defense than they showed earlier in the week. Baltimore are a hell of a lot healthier right now. This is a lot tougher task, not to mention Kansas City got pretty beat up in that game as well, guys. Every second play, you'll notice they were scraping a red jersey off the turf, essentially. Guys were limping off. They were running out of bodies as well. So, like I said, there's no excuses. It's not about excuses. It's just Baltimore in a better situation this week, Brady.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's, it's a point we can make about what we saw the last week or the last couple weeks. And you make a really good point with Kansas City. I mean, let's face it here. Your Buffalo Bills probably should have won the game. I don't even care about Tyler Bass. Josh Allen should have won that game long before that field goal attempt. And what I'm saying is they nearly beat the Chiefs with such a depleted defense. Then you go to the week before, Miami really banged up all over the place, not only on defense, and it's, minus 20 degrees. The Chiefs had a pretty, good fortune or turn of events there. Their last 7 game, guys, I'll throw out week 18. That doesn't count. The 7 games prior to that, they went 3-4. They lost to the Bills. They lost to the Eagles. They lost to the Raiders. They lost to the Packers. I don't believe in a team just
by the Raiders, like absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
Like they got murdered. Another thing, guys, Gay might be out for the Chiefs. That's where they attack in the middle. Lamar Jackson, and they're going to go nuts. If this guy is out, the Chiefs they got big problems, Gabe and Brady, like big problems. He needs to play for them.
Well, the Achilles heel for the Chiefs has always been defending the run, even in Super Bowl winning years. That's how you get them. And it's even though their defense is better this year, it's still how you get them. And now you're going up against one of, if not the best rushing offenses in football, who, by the way, has the best rushing quarterback in football. If Willie Gay's out, like you say, Cam, it's going to be extra tough on Kansas City. Yeah, give me Baltimore and San Francisco. Again, money line parlay.
Excellent stuff as always, Brady. Thanks a lot for taking the time to be with us. Catch Brady right here on the grid on different shows, giving his expert insight. Always a pleasure, my man.
Have a good one, guys. Thanks for having me.
There's Brady Cannon with us. All right. We're going to find out what's in Cam's bag on the other side. We got the Lakers and the Clippers in a fun one at the Crypt. Let's roll.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night as the Chiefs are now headed back to a 6th championship game, an extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
I have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
in-game live,
just
prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
In the bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
that was
late
good
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We
did like the 2.5. Jumped on.
There's no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency, the Pips, the Players, the Hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Man, I'm like, is it Goldilocks? This porridge is too hot, this porridge is too cold? Because that's me. Yeah. Can't get my seat right, Cam. Like, it's one of those deals. Like, I've been uncomfortable for like 2 days. Like, I've moved. I'm like, something's not right. Like, I keep sort of like, I don't know. It's in my head or something. It's just, it's one of those deals,
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Morency. I got the back pain going with the chair. I got the pillows. There's a big dent in it. Even though I lost a lot of weight, Morency, I still feel your pain. Like when I finish shows, I'm like, oh, my back. Like I always got because we're sitting in chairs doing a lot of stuff, buddy. So, but you're not a big man either. That's the good news is. Imagine if you were like big and chunky and bigger, you'd have way more pain. So stay lean.
No, I'm not in pain. I'm just uncomfortable. I can't just. It's a big deal. It's a difference. I just can't get it. Just can't get the chair right tonight. I don't know if somebody messed with me. Used to drive me crazy when I used to be in studios, especially one studio. I remember it was the Team 990 many years ago. Like, I swear to God, people, I used to like have chairs set the way I liked them, and I would hide them and stuff, and I'd come back and like people would like mess with me. like I almost want to like get a chair and lock it up. So I'm convinced, I'm telling you, there's like ghosts that come in here and like, yeah, I'm just going to mess with Morency and start like moving things around just to get in his head. And it actually works because I'm talking about it right now. So 103-97 late in the third quarter here. The Lakers, give the Lakers credit. They were down. They've battled back in this game. It's a fun game, high-scoring game here at the Crypt. It's going to sail over the original number. The current in-game total is 262.5. We closed at 235.5 in this game. I brought it up earlier about UNLV and how you just cannot trust the UNLV running Rebels laying points, and they're just the ultimate flake team. But this is an embarrassment. They're losing right now 33-15. 33-15 is double-digit favorites. That's pathetic. Like, that's just, this is what, no one's going to go to your games, like, pathetic type of deal. You're going to fire the coach, pathetic. You can't be losing by 18 points to an Air Force team that can't beat it. Air Force have lost, like, 7 games in a row, we should know.
Yep.
And they've been murdered along the way. Like, they're not a good basketball team. They're absolutely terrible. And they're winning 33-15 in Vegas right now. We've got the over 130 in this game. The in-game total is currently 129.5. In the NHL, the Ducks are up 3-0 on the Sabres. We're on the under 5.5. It's 3-0 after 2 periods of play. Over 4.5 is -200. Under 4.5 is +160. The Ducks are currently laying 3.5, but it's +170. And the Rangers are up 2-0 on the Sharks. We got 12 minutes left in the second period of play. The Rangers are also laying 3.5 goals right now. The in-game total in this game is 5.5. Cam, any in-game NHL bets for you here?
No, I would probably look. I know 4.5 is crazy. It's +160 in the Ducks Sabres game. It looks like Buffalo just didn't show up tonight. Maybe a 4-0 final there. Gabe, I don't feel confident laying extra goals with the Rangers. They're kind of in a nice spot right now, up 2-0. I'm not sure if San Jose has the firepower, so now I'm going to leave it alone. I'd probably go under 5.5. I'm not sure. The one thing about the Rangers is they have good goaltending and defense, and I think if they win maybe like 4-0. So I would look under 5.5.
Yeah, I'm betting under 5.5. I said before, I'm on the Rangers on a bunch of moneyline parlays, and I bet the Rangers to win exactly 4-1. And it's probably not going to happen. I just put a little bit on it at 10-1 because I'm not so sure San Jose are going to score. I think the Rangers do just sort of tighten things up. You're on the road. You want to get the hell out of here. You're up 2-0. There's the fear of the empty net goal. The Rangers get up 3-0, and then the Sharks pull the goalie and stuff. But even then, maybe it gets to like 5-0 or something like that. But listen, man, you look at the Rangers, Cam. They gave up 2 goals to the Ducks the other night. They stormed back. They scored 5 straight after. Now they're up. They scored another 2 straight. We were talking about dangerous teams. The Rangers are actually contenders in the East as well. You know, they're a good hockey team. One good thing with the Rangers, they generally beat teams that they're supposed to. So I'm already on the Rangers. I'll go under 5.5 in-game here. And what do we get it at? See, I tell you, the odds makers agree. They're listening to us because we got it at minus 145. It's minus 160 right now. Yep. So it's on the move in that game. There's AHL hockey going on right now for the hardcores. The Abbotsford Canucks, the Vancouver Canuck farm team, taking on the San Diego Gulls. We got a 4.5 total. It's 1-1 after 40 minutes of play there. And 106.97 after 3 quarters of play at the Crypt. New in-game total, 259.5. Clippers up 9. They're laying 10.5 in this game. All right, we got Wes Clayton, the sniper, is going to step up and in a level 3 with some picks. We'll see what Cam has for Torrey Pines. Right now, Cam, what do you have as far as the golf tournament is concerned?
I like a lot of Brady's picks, and the Tony Finau pick I really like, and I have him top 10 and top 20. But, Gabe, the one chalk I did go with is Morikawa. We talked about Homa. It's very, very hard to go back-to-back, and this field right now is absolutely stellar. So I know one thing about Colin Morikawa. He went to Cal. He likes California golf, and it's all about the putter. 11-1. I wish I got a little bit more, but I feel really good about him this week. Sahith Theegala, this guy has played this tournament, and all he does is finish like in the top 10. Gabe, this guy's the next star on the tour. Sometimes his driver gets a little bit loose, but I'll tell you one thing. You need to hit it big at this course, and this guy is a monster off the tee. 40-1 is a really nice price. So Brady Cannon told me one thing. He likes Svensson over Mitchell. I bet Mitchell at 81, kind of like the Shane Lowry bet. Very big driver of the golf ball. Friends with your boy Josh Allen, Gabe. He's got a great iron game, and he's a very streaky putter, and he played great. When I watched the final round last week, I like taking these guys that are really, really strong heading into a tournament after a good final round. The guy was 9 under through 12 holes. He went bananas and finished really, really strong last week. So I like Keith Mitchell at 80-1. Here's a guy that no one knows about, but I follow golf a lot, and I'm telling you, Gabe, he finished top 10 last week. No one's even talking. All he does is finish top 20, and nobody knows who he is. Ryo Hizotone. This guy, Japanese star right now, 130-1. I watched him. I had him live last week at like 400-1. He was making a huge move, too. So let's see if he can play on this course. It's a little bit of a flyer, but I like the price. Me and Brady are both on Ben Griffin. I know he's not like the perfect prototypical player for this course, but he does a lot of things well, especially getting up and down. And, hey, this guy's got a very good short game. So I'll take him at 130-1. And Sam Ryder was going to win this tournament. I'll never forget this tournament because we had a little piece of him. Golf Channel and CBS and then Nance is doing an interview. They have the reporter talking to his mom, like during this, saying, oh, Sam's doing this and that, whatever. And it was the worst. Right? The minute they were interviewing his mom, he started to kind of unravel and barely lose the tournament. He plays great in California. Sam Ryder's 170-1. So I'm going to take him. That is the 6-pack right now, Morency. I also like Tony Finau. Brady's picker. I was going to take another guy in chalk. Here we go. Tony Finau for a top 20 finish, plus 145. This guy, you need length at this course, and Tony Finau has length in spades. This guy really murders the ball, so I really like him. Brady, Keegan Bradley is another guy that plays well in California golf, plus 180 for Keegan Bradley. That's for a top 20. And Jason Day, Gabe, Brady mentioned him. I love him for a top 20. Jason Day doesn't have to worry about the health. Had a lot of family issues. He's had so many things go on with his personal health and his mom, and he took it really hard. I think right now he's got a lot of things off his mind, and he can just focus on golf. And my top 10 pick is going to be your guy, Max Homa. I'm not taking him to win, but at plus 175, Homa, I think, will be very close to winning this tournament. I'd rather have him for a top 10 and 20 rather than winning the tournament. Top 40, I have 2 guys. There's a lot of guys that I like. It's been the year of the underdogs. Justin Suh, he started really, really poorly last week and went absolutely bananas down the stretch and did really well to finish. He's plus 145 for a top 40. He went to USC too, Gabe. Lots of experience at Torrey Pines. Got to like these guys. If you notice a theme to my picks, a lot of guys who played golf. Morikawa, Cal Golden Bear, Suh, USC Trojan. You know, a lot of guys who don't play really, really well in California. They've made my list. And Nasty Nate Lashley, he's an all-or-nothing type of player, but he's plus 320 for a top 40. He's won before on tour. He missed the cut last week by 1 shot after a horrible first round and played really, really well in the final round and just missed the cut because he was so bad early. If he gets off to a good start, I think he could be a factor. Plus 320 for a top 40. Those are the picks.
All right, good stuff, Cam. Yeah, I said earlier, I like Jason Day is just a guy that just sort of jumps off the. I know he's won here before. I think he's due. He's got he's much healthier than he has been. I think his personal issues, his family health issues have been cleared up a little bit. But one thing I'm definitely going to do, I'm going to play Jason Day to be the first round leader. So the three guys I'm taking, the three guys I'm taking in this tournament, I'm going to take Ludwig Aberg to win the tournament. I'm going to take Max Homa to win the tournament. And you know what? I think Max Homa is the first round leader bet. But you know what? I'm going to take him to be the first round leader. But I don't really think he's going to win the tournament. But it'd be stupid not to just sprinkle on it. But I do think Homa could be the first round leader. Day first round leader. Jason Day first round leader as well. And Aberg. Aberg is someone that I think is dangerous. And I think that I don't want to play everybody, but I think Tony Finau is a good bet too at 25-1 for a guy that's going to be right there. Our boy Ghoster is in the house here, and he likes some of the same golfers. I see Ghoster says he's on Aberg, Bradley, Harris English, who's a popular pick this week, Rogers, Batia, Billy Herschel. And his first-round leaders, Straka, English, Horschel, Bradley, Rose, Højgaard, Batia, Smalley, and Mr. Rogers. Man, he's got more plays than you do, Kevin. He's got a lot of picks here.
He sure does.
My first-round
leader, it sure is. I'm going to take two guys at 55-1. Taylor Montgomery is a guy that gets off the start really well, Gabe, and he'll do well. I also like Tony Finau at 55-1. This guy, I think that's a crazy price for him, first-round leader. And Keegan Bradley, I'm going to play three guys at 55-1. I'm not playing a million. Finau, Bradley, Montgomery, first-round leaders, all 55-1.
Yeah, my first-round leaders will be Max Homa, Ludwig Aberg, and Jason Day. And I'm going to bypass the Xander Schauffele bandwagon and the Morikawa bandwagons this week. Same with Catlin. There's no value with these guys.
No.
It's a big, why is Xander Schauffele favored? He shouldn't be favored.
I agree. I actually took him last week for a top 10, Morency, and that was great at plus money. He finished third. That's why I'm doing this top 10, top 20 stuff. Brady brought up a great point. That's where you put the money. One guy wins the tournament, so you allocate your funds like that, and a lot of these guys are plus money for top 20s. Only one guy is going to get there, so that's the way you attack a golf tournament and with matchups.
One thing, we talked about it with Schauffele. A lot of people seem to like him. I know he always plays well. No, I know he's got to have this, but he played at San Diego State. He hasn't played well here. Like, historically, things haven't gone, they've gone worse than good for him. I know he's had a few good runs. I think he finished third once. But like Brady stated, he's missed a lot of cuts here. I know that was years ago. But I'm not just buying in because, he's played there. He played at the college near the course.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night as the Chiefs are now headed back to a sixth championship game, an extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took them
time.
yard for a grand slam.
In the bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
That was
late
good betting.
night.
We waited for the 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
information, did like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. It's 110-106 for the Clippers. So this game is close. So give the Lakers credit. Playing without LeBron as 9.5-point underdogs. They're hanging around in this game. They're down 4 with 8 minutes left. 110-106. We play a clip from the Pharrell Show on a daily basis. And today, I believe Joe Lisi is raging about the Kansas City and the Baltimore Raven point spread. So let's see what Joe Lisi told Mike Carver today on Coast to Coast.
The half is tricky, Joe, I feel. The half is very, very scary, especially when the guy who's going to be wearing number 15 on the Kansas City sideline, he's the guy that you're giving that half to. Very, very dangerous proposition.
Yeah, well, I'm not afraid. I'm going to lay it. I'm not afraid.
You ain't scared. You ain't as scared, Joe. Just say it. I'm going after him.
I had the stones to Alton. Nobody's got the stones. I like it at 3. I don't like it at 3.5. I like it at 3, but at 3.5. Oh, you know, so here's the thing. We talk about all the gurus, the analytics and charts guys. Like it at 3, don't like it at 3.5, because when I bet it at 3, I'm expecting to win by what? I mean, you're a complete moron. If you're betting 3, they got to win by 4, so you can't. You might as well lay it at 3.5. But the push, smash special. I'm going to lay it up to 9.5. How about that? Alton up, double-digit win. Could be a 3-point spread the whole game. In the 4th, we stick in a touchdown. You win by 10. There's the Alton plus 196, and we're going over the total. Don't be afraid. I got the stones to do it.
Joe's got some stones.
Yeah, stones.
I actually agree with him as far as that. I never liked that when people said, I like it at 6, but I'm not sure it's 6.5.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, if you only like it by half a point, if you're scared you're going to lose that much, maybe it's not such a great bet.
He's right. Yeah, you guys are right.
But he says up to 9.5. I don't know if I want to lay up to 9.5. I'll tell you that.
No, I'll lay the regular spread and take the Ravens game.
Who's got the stones?
Who's got the stones?
Is the only one in the world betting the Ravens? Everyone's betting the Ravens. Like, what do you mean?